Now, there's a whole host of reasons why you might have to make something that is shaped quite oddly. So, if you need to fit a strange view into your drawing, this video is for you. Well, let's say we're working in the medical industry and would like to have a device that has a long, say, intravascular catheter on it. Let's say that we'll give this a dimension of 6. We'll extrude to a dimension of, say, 2, and then we'll give this another dimension, vertical, and 2.5. And we'll give this a dimension of, say, 0.125. We'll deactivate and extrude, and I'll give this, say, a dimension of 60 inches. Now we'll want to represent our device on a drawing. So we'll go to Send To, we'll save, and once that's saved, we'll go to Make Drawing of this design. Now let's say I'd like to have a 1:7 scale. So that features on my circular part will show up right. You'll notice we have some fitment issues. If we scale this view down to be quite small, we may not see enough detail on this part. But if we make this scale large, then our catheter becomes far too long. We can try to solve this with, say, detail views or other things, but I'd like to introduce another way, which would be a break. So we'll insert a broken view here, and I can click on what view I'd like to be broken. I'll click on this. And when I do, these two horizontal blue lines show up, and I can move these to however I would like. But the space between these two lines is what will be broken. So if I click OK, our view is significantly shortened, and we can have a better scale and take out the parts of the drawing that really don't add value. Now if I start adding dimensions, I know that I made a catheter that was a length of 60. If I put a dimension here, we still have the same dimension. So our dimensions are not affected by the fact that we've shortened our view with a break. We simply have been able to create a better footprint for the view. I can get rid of this, and let's talk about doing this view. I'll go to Sheets and Views, insert a broken here. And you'll notice that these lines know to be vertical instead of the horizontal lines that we had last time. And I can also arrange them in a way that would be meaningful for this view. I can also choose a zigzag line, which is the one that I most commonly use. And even though the zigzag doesn't appear to be quite fitted to the view right, after I click OK, the zigzag is then applied to what would look best. I also can choose a curve line if I'd like to do that. Now perhaps I'd like to adjust the gap between my curved or zigzag or straight lines. I might want to adjust that to a gap width of 0.05, and now the gap is much smaller after changing that setting. I also may wish to make this a vertical cut, so I can give this an angle of 90 degrees. And I can change this to straight line. So I can add whatever angle I would like to cut the view differently if I would like. So just because the lines know to come in vertical or horizontal doesn't mean that we can change things, right? I can add in an angle of, say, 45 degrees if I'd like to do that. But that, of course, might hurt the alignment of our view if we're trying to slice horizontal features. So I do recommend keeping it horizontal or vertical unless what you're trying to cut is at 45 degrees. So that's largely how we handle these sorts of cut views. They allow us to have more realistic scales and to look at things that add meaning to the drawing and reduce those that do not have meaning in the drawing. And that is how we handle broken views. And we have yet even more views here to come.